Wait, is that ironic or coincidental? Or both? Do you
I
find
don't think
yourself
it's
looking up
ironic.
do you find yourself looking up the meaning of words to make sure you're not using them wrong on the podcast?
I do, and I find myself looking up the same word multiple times,
For example,
coincidentally.
now that is irony. Somehow. Wow, we just brought
just
that whole
like-
thing full circle.
and
Somehow.
I still-
that actually
right-
is irony. Like,
I still can't actually tell you what the meaning is or how to properly use it.
we'll have to go through that one day. The stuff we're saying wrong. I know we did it with you for a while, but like your just terms and comments, you had just a little off because where you're from or whatever, how you grew
Yeah.
up. We should do that one time. Like the words that we mess up and reuse wrong all the time.
Right.
It can't be too many because I'm kind of okay with my vocabulary, and my brother would definitely call me out if I said something wrong too often. As he probably would for you. Shout out Greg.
Yeah, he probably would. I would
Not
I
just
would hope
fact
that he would.
checker. I would hope he would. Like, yeah.
I think he knows me well enough that he could do it with me. I know that he's willing to take a pot shot at you every chance he can.
Not every chance he can. He could, and I wouldn't blame him because we're brothers, right?
He's your brother, right?
And I'm his little brother, so like I wouldn't blame him from doing that. Like for years, he called me his little shit brother. Like I think he still does it occasionally to be funny.
That's
So it's
fair.
not the end. Yeah, it's fair, right? Totally fair. Well, that being said, man, let's get into it here if you're
Yeah,
ready.
Let's do it, dude. Are you ready to
All
rock?
right. I am, yeah. And before we get going here, real quick, everybody, we're trying to streamline the process a little here. So brought to you by ChatGPT. You can check out everything that is ISAW at isawpodcast.com. There you find our socials, the Buy Us a Beer tab if you want to support the show and be named a sponsor of an upcoming episode, and the Be a Guest tab if you'd like to join us for a future recording. You can also reach out with feedback or episode ideas. Text us at 507-607-ISAW. That's 507-607-4729. Leave a message. Might even see on a future episode. All right, that's the biz. Let's get into the show.
Let's get into it. And now,
Yeah,
if I can hijack
ChatGPT definitely did make that much more streamlined.
Yeah, it really did.
Shout out AI.
Shout out AI. Now, our social media manager is probably going to tell us to switch over to a different AI platform here soon, just so you know.
Yes,
but-
whatever. Yeah. They don't sponsor. ChatGPT doesn't sponsor us or anything. It just was the quickest one I found when I was trying to shorten that because you gave me some shit about it 2 episodes in a row.
Right. I'm going to hijack the front end of this, man.
Go.
How about that?
Go.
So everybody, welcome into another video episode of the I Shower After Work podcast. Jason and I are going to try to do a little bit more of these, but we'll see how it goes and see if we can get it to where we're in person doing it. So,
And if people like it. Seems to get some feedback so far.
yeah, some people are liking it. Some people might actually hate seeing our mugs, but neither.
But you don't have to, folks. You can still just listen. Remember that.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to see John's mug, but I mean,
nobody really does.
all of this.
Some people
come on.
have to.
Come on. All
Well,
right, go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
The other week we dove into the really tricky, touchy subject of the Second Amendment, right? And it was different for us to tackle something a little bit more serious. We did re-record that one because we wanted it to be a bit more concise and a bit
Coherent.
more coherent. Well, not to worry, guys. We are back to some more lighthearted, fairly lighthearted today, I hope. So since we skipped right over it, let's take a small step back and talk about the First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Nice.
What does
I like
that
it.
look like?
I like it. Well, let's start out with the details, okay?
Yep, let's get the nitty gritty out of the way.
The very first amendment. Now, we were talking before we recorded. They did drop the first 10 all in one big smash when they realized some adjustments had to be made to the Constitution, right?
Yes.
So the actual wording is, and I'll try not to trip over myself here, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of
Man.
plain and simple. Kind of.
Kind of plain and simple. If you remember, it was old-timey speech and lawyers and high-end businessmen that wrote a lot of these things way back in the day, right? Specific wording that couldn't, well, I mean, it can be argued, but shouldn't be.
Right.
It should be as clear as can be, right?
Absolutely.
What's your stance on freedom of speech this day and age? We're gonna get into a bunch of topics here, but I mean, how do you feel about it?
Um, we were talking earlier, and I said, since we're doing these episodes, I've actually read more of our constitutional, amendments than I ever have in my entire life, right?
Hmm.
And that's because I was born American. I don't worry about my rights, right? I know that conversation can go down an entirely different road, so fucking put your goddamn holster guns back in your holsters for the love of God. Calm down for a minute.
Yeah, the Second
But
Amendment thing got a lot of traction.
wow. So, but the freedom of speech lets us say what we want to say, and lets us be heard, right? Now, I think a lot of people take it out of context saying that they can say whatever the fuck they want to. There are restrictions on this. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused, because I think first and foremost, I think all of these amendments and everything that these rights say, no matter what right it is, I think people have to understand that it really does stop when it comes to the government, right? These rights are separating the government from the people, right? They are protections to the government, right? Like that's where the buck stops, right? It doesn't apply to the private sector. None of them
True.
do. Like
True.
some of them do kind of, but realistically, your First Amendment, doesn't give you the right to um, do certain things inside private sectors. Your Second Amendment, sure as shit, doesn't let you do certain things inside of private sectors, right? Private businesses, private individuals, private property can label and list any of the constitutional rights and throw them right out the fucking window and tell them you can't do any of that here.
You can't bring a gun in here. Yeah.
Yep. You don't get freedom of speech. We ain't doing all that bullshit inside this establishment.
Well, in the same way though that they post about a firearm, don't bring firearms in this premises.
Right.
Legal consequences, ramifications potentially if you do against what they want, right?
Right.
Staying on topic with this, they like so let's say the company that one of us works for, right? Or anybody works for their company, right?
Mm-hmm.
They cannot infringe on your First Amendment right to freedom of speech, but your speech can get you fired,
Yeah. So that
can cause you legal trouble within the boundaries of your workplace.
absolutely,
Certainly.
absolutely. They can't tell you that you can't say what you're going to say, but there will be consequences to your actions.
Right. It is
Fair enough.
supposed to be for, and as I said, to petition the government for redress of grievances.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
have to be able to say what you want to say in order to get your point out without fear of reprisal, even though even that's not true anymore.
Right.
In order to state your case in any of these things, whether it was religion or press or peaceable assembly, all the things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, also, quick side tangent, buddy. Now that we are recording the video and actually using them, I find myself very conscious of what I'm doing. I used to like reach over, mess with my phone all the time.
Yep.
I'm noticing like I don't want to take as many drinks. People are gonna think I'm a fucking alkie. Like, what do we do? Anyways,
And I've noticed every time I look over at I have 3 monitors on my desk, people. I'm looking at this one, right? I'm talking to Jason. I've got shit over here.
Yeah.
That I have
also
to keep
super
referencing.
super nice, by the way. I don't know if I brought it up yet. Super nice of you to text me at let's say 8 p.m. Wednesday. Everybody who listens regularly, the episodes usually come out Thursday morning. John's go like, oh, by the way, we're going video. Here's me thinking back on, was I wearing a clean shirt?
Hey, you were.
Like,
Both looked.
did I have the
You know,
sniffles?
pretty
Like, I wasn't like pick my nose or anything crazy, was I? Like,
I still reviewed it. I wouldn't have let it gone out if it looked like garbage. I mean, come on.
yes, that's true. All right. Anyways, like I said, side tangent.
So back on point with what you can and cannot do, right? So I dug in a little bit. Okay, so what does the First Amendment actually like? What does it look like? And what does it stop? What does it not include? Right? So when we're talking about things that it doesn't include, so it doesn't include incitement of imminent lawless action, right?
Correct.
To make or distribute obscene materials like it stops it right there.
Obviously.
Right? To burn draft cards as an anti-war protest, which I didn't actually know. That is not included in free speech, but you can burn the American flag in protest. And that is considered free speech. But
Which
you cannot.
is crazy
which is
to
crazy,
burn a
right?
flag,
Yep.
right? Like
Uh,
crazy.
yep.
Like good luck. Yeah, it might be your air quotes constitutional right. I dare you to do it in front of 75% of my friends, me included.
Oh, yeah,
I dare you.
absolutely.
Like, don't
Our
do that.
our circle of people would lose their minds.
Not just our circle. I bet you that circle extends to most people's circles.
I would hope so, man. I would
There's going to be
really,
a
really
few
hope
echo
so.
chambers where people are like, yes,
Right.
absolutely, it's your right, and they
Right.
hold the right to the law. But I mean,
Right.
careful.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I
And
wish I
so,
could remember which comedian it was recently who did a skit on one of the programs. It was probably SNL or whatever, where he was acting as one of the founding fathers from way back.
sure.
And they went off on a little fun tangent in old-timey English about how the First Amendment needs to be the freedom of speech, so you can say you want this. And then somebody in the background goes, "Yeah, the next one should be guns, because if you're going to talk shit, you better be able to back that up."
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't the intent when they made the two, but it is kind of funny that it's 1-2. Here, you're allowed to say what you want to say, but also if you're going to say everything that crosses your mind, strap up maybe. Just
Yep.
say. So
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so I didn't realize that, it doesn't include the whole burning of the draft cards as an anti-war protest. That came
there
about,
has to be things that aren't included.
right. And that came about in 68, which Vietnam, am I right?
Mm, give or take.
Right.
Give or take.
To permit students, so it doesn't include to permit students to print articles in school newspapers over the objections of the school administration. Okay. It doesn't include the students to make obscene speeches at school sponsored events. Right. They can't have bad language, stuff like that inside their speeches. Right. And of students to advocate illegal drug use at school sponsored events. Right.
Right. So
Like,
in a bit, I'm going to get into kind of the new age of freedom of speech.
mm-hmm.
Uh, it's all right. So I, in what I laid out for this, I might have had my order a little bit wrong. Okay. So let me just jump ahead for us. Is it with the way things are now, with a mass change in the last, especially 12 or 14 years, in the use of social media and what we've seen in regular media, state sponsored is what I'm now calling a lot of it, because it's so biased, so much as it is full of propaganda. Is it worded correctly from the original amendment to apply to the world we're in now?
No, I don't think
And
so.
see, that's where I'm worried, right? Like media bias is rampant. Anonymity online is a gigantic problem, in my opinion. If you can say whatever you want with zero fear of reprisal, it's a huge issue to this, because when this was written, obviously it was never taken into consideration that every Joe Blow sitting in a dark basement on his laptop or her laptop or their laptop can say whatever they want to whoever they want
Yep.
within reason, obviously. But when this was written down, when it was penned and founded, the intent was freedom of speech. Say what you want to get your point across, to make change, to protect yourself, to it can't contain threats of violence. It can't be harassment, bullying, stalking. You can't encourage or coordinate any legal act. Like it's not really freedom of speech. You can't really say everything you want to say.
Right.
So calling it freedom of speech almost seems like a misnomer now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is that the laws and rules and regulations and the rights and the amendments and those changes that we have never keep up with technology. They never have. They never
No.
will. Technology changes so fast that they can't create laws and rules and regulations fast enough with the very large system that we have in order to keep up with those things. Right.
Fact.
It just now came out well, not recently, I guess it's been a couple years, but during the dark ages of our time, um, that the government tried to stop and censor social media platforms. It came out now that they're doing that. Well, that's against the constitutional amendment. That's against freedom of speech. Government is not supposed to be doing that, right? So
All right. I hate that I have to say this disclaimer yet again this week. but for posterity, happy to live in the States, wouldn't want to live anywhere else. In the middle of my immigration right now, I agree with the First Amendment. I think it's very, very important. This show is for entertainment and information and satire. I'm not bagging on the States. I love it here. All right. I may as well just record something of the like and just
Right.
put it on a swing button where I could just be like, oh, by the way, disclaimer. Here we go.
Yeah, we can actually do that. That is something we do.
I
But
almost
and
should. Satire disclaimer. Go. Like, can I get Morgan Freeman to read it? Maybe that'd be cool.
that'd be cool. I bet you we
David
can get an
Attenborough, who
AI
knows?
voice to do that.
We probably. Anyways,
So,
that being said,
but
can't go ahead.
but the other point, on your disclaimer, yes, everybody, these are our opinions, and our opinions alone does not reflect the views of anybody else except for me and Jason. Like, don't
Yes,
go.
and sometimes it's for fun to make you think and talk. Like we don't mean everything. Some of it's satire.
There's a little bit of stir in the pot, right? Stirred pot.
Oh,
pot,
I
right?
certainly mean a lot of the things. For sure.
Yeah.
As an example, okay? I'll give you a prime example of that right now. Uh, if I was to, and I was trying to think if this was the correct word. Can you re-amend an amendment? Or is there another word for re-amending something that's already been amended? That wasn't intended to sound like a word puzzle. Do you re-amend something?
I think you just amended again.
You just amend it again. There's no re.
Yeah. I don't think there's a re-amendment.
Okay, that's where I
I
was
could
off.
be
That's why
wrong.
that's why it felt wrong when I said it and wrote it out
Yeah.
loud. I said it out loud like 10 times, like remend. No, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I can definitely say that there's a chance that I'm wrong on that because I've been wrong before. I believe it was a Tuesday.
Yes. One of my dad's favorite jokes. Shout out Freeman. God love you, dude. So do we as a country consider amending the amendment?
At some
Would
point,
there be any benefit?
only if we could amend it to the point to include everything, which God knows we can't. There's no way. We can't get enough people to agree on things to actually make that happen. Right? I think our
Were
government
the original amendments voted on, or were they decided upon by the administration at the time? I don't know.
Oh, there was signatures involved, I guess. Everybody thought it was good. I'm sure they had. But so there's the deal, right? So you're taking a Congress that is a quarter of the size of what it is now, right? Back in the day.
Biased still for completely different reasons in what, 1790 something?
1770 something.
Okay. No, when they made the amendments. 1776 is the
Oh, yeah.
I think the first set of amendments were in the
1790.
1790 something.
Yeah, something like
early, one or two.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So how is it, and that's the hang up, and I'm sorry I'm skipping words a little bit because this thought it's hard to vocalize, and I tried to vocalize it before and it just came out wrong. How do we take something that was created when there was 13 colonies and the government was a quarter of the size to this nation that is as large as we are now, that encompasses such a variety of people with all of the problems we have? How do we apply those same rules? How do we make that happen? Because there's loopholes in everything.
It's so gray. Perfectly said. It's so gray. Like there's a little black and white on either side of that, but it's so gray. Like take this for example. I'm willing to bet that the term bullying, in the way we think of it today, didn't exist when they wrote this amendment.
Oh, not a chance.
But bullying's not okay, even though it's freedom of speech. People go to jail for harassment and bullying. I mean, I will admit mostly because it often leads to stalking, which is terrible.
Well, and the violence behind it.
And the violence that can be behind it or incur, like certainly, right? Anything that can or likely will turn illegal in one way or another. There's so many things that you could say are air quotes freedom of speech that aren't covered. So is the term, and this is going to be divisive, I admit, everybody. Again, pro-US here, looking forward to being a citizen very, very soon. I don't know that the word freedom is accurate.
What would you use instead?
I wish in all the time that I had thought this out, I had come up with a better term. I didn't. And before I forget, shout out to Jason G. lead engineer at one of my companies that I go to all the time. I had a great conversation with him recently about a few episodes. He's been a new listener. Jay, what's up? He actually helped me out with talking this out the other day to solidify some of my thoughts with another like live human being. I don't know what you could call it. I mean, freedom of speech sounds good when it was written, but you don't have freedom of speech. Not now. There's too many loopholes, there's too many corners.
Yeah, and
Call it freedom.
yeah, no, and it's I I'm gonna
Guidelines of
I'm gonna
speech?
I'm gonna steel man my position on it too with you. I think freedom of speech is still applicable. I think people need to. Unfortunately, the saying goes, if common sense was actually common, right?
Fair enough.
And I think it chalks up to a lot of that of where we have freedom of speech, but people don't use their own critical thinking skills, or they have a lack of critical thinking skills to think through a situation to be like, oh, if I say this, this isn't freedom of speech. I'm actually infringing on somebody else's rights when I say this. It's libel, it's propaganda, it's blah 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 blah.
Let me give you a perfect example, okay? When I tried looking this up, folks, if you want to get into a rabbit hole of trying to find things with keywords, look up cases in the law or courts regarding freedom of speech and watch your suggestions just take a strange hard turn every other line. It's a weird thing to try to look up. But so this is comes from KCTV 5. That's in Kansas City, Missouri. Uh, Headline says woman charged with identity theft after posting man's arrest warrant on social media. So Emily Berger, 48, posted a copy of a man's arrest warrant to Facebook that listed obviously personal information, social security number, date, driver's licenses, things that would be on a most arrest warrants probably, right?
Yep.
It was to notify people in the area of the fact that this man may be a problem, in her opinion, her freedom of speech. Well, you can't do that.
Nope. Nope. That's defamation,
Right.
and that is protected. You
And if
can't
something,
do that.
right. And if something was to happen to that person based on, I mean,
She's held legally reliable.
right.
Legally liable,
I knew
not
what you meant.
reliable.
I was going to call you out for a libel. I'm glad you caught it. Uh, Obviously, this lady didn't think that any criminal offense had occurred, the whole thing, right? So that's one example of what I thought was a perfect gray area for this whole thing. She is within her rights to bring up that she was concerned about this person because of whatever was in this warrant. It doesn't say what the warrant was about, you know. Obviously, something concerning to her in her neighborhood. She posted on a Facebook community group or whatever, right?
Sure.
And immediately felt the pinch of, okay, you're allowed to say it, but now there's consequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
So back to my point, is it freedom of speech, but not safe from retribution, not safe from consequence?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
It's
that's
still
what it should
freedom of
be.
speech.
Freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequence.
Yeah. Yeah, you're still held to the consequences of your actions. It's just like if somebody gets mouthy at a bar, right? Take this example. I am at the bar with my beautiful bride, right? And she's in a cute little outfit, and some guy comes up, says something that I don't like to him, or like that I don't like to her, strikes a nerve, and I punch him in his mouth. That's the consequences of his actions. He had every right to say it. There's the consequences of the actions, which I will feel free to take the assault charge for. Just saying.
Okay.
I will be happy smiling at the cops as they arrest me.
I understand your analogy. Makes
Right?
sense.
Like you can't have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't work.
Okay, so let me try to find one that's a little more on point of what I was kind of getting at. I spelled this. I typed it out in our outline here. I'm not even sure it was
You're
right.
right. You're right.
Is it? Am I right? Okay.
Yep.
So doxing.
Yeah.
For people unfamiliar, because I only recently became familiar with this, if someone in the public eye, for whatever reason, does something that you don't like, you find their personal information, whether it's phone numbers, addresses, license plate, whatever it is, and you send it out into the world
Yep.
in the hopes that someone who's not you, and when I say you, I mean the person who will dox someone and send their information out. I'll say it right now, you goddamn coward.
Yeah, you're chicken shit.
If you had the information and were willing to do something, go do it.
Yeah, go
You're
knock
doing
on their
that
door.
because you're not brave enough to do it, and you're hoping somebody else is going to be spun up enough to do it.
Right.
I agree that that should be a huge problem, but it's not. I mean, it's a problem for the people that it happens to.
It's getting worse.
It's
and
like,
and
right.
there are stories out there now. I've seen a couple of them that people that did get charged.
Good.
They got the consequences of their actions. Unfortunately, that person that they were doxing had to relocate. Like, you can't stay there, right? Now, if you're in the public eye and you're saying comments that are inciting a lot of anger and you know it, um, get a team behind you to clean off. Go internet searching and clean all of your information out of the internet. Like, that is possible. You should definitely do that.
People could say that we are in that vein right now. We
Yeah,
don't say a lot of controversial stuff. It's opinions for fun. I think, I shouldn't speak for you, but I think the whole antithesis here is that we're trying to promote a conversation.
absolutely.
We're not out there spouting hateful stuff about our real belief in a specific area and go do this and these people are terrible and go get like, no, we would never do that. But there's definitely people out there who do.
Well, and I think you and I are both in the same boat. We're willing to change our minds about stuff.
Mm,
If you can have a
definitely.
good conversation with me and change my mind, more power to you. That is what debate is all about.
Yes. Like I've
If
said before, when we did our conspiracy theory episode, I have sat down and listened to flat earthers,
mhm,
two of them, sell me, make me understand. And I'll do that with anything. If you can make a coherent argument, I'll talk to you.
yeah, but have a normal conversation. Don't be yelling. Don't be don't be all up in the arms because I'm not threatening your world at all. I've got a set of opinions. You have a set of opinions. If you can't have a mature adult conversation without yelling and screaming, you're not ready for that conversation. And I'm not going to waste my time.
All right. Devil's advocate. Ready?
Go for it.
Um, we can agree that there are quite a few people in today's society who believe that your opinion, upsetting them or disagreeing with their worldview, is considered, I hate this word, folks, but it's batted around so much, could be considered hate speech. Or you're assaulting them because your opinion differs from theirs wildly. I'm not
Because
saying
they
it's
were offended, right?
basically, right?
I love the saying I heard about being offended is you have to take the chance of being offended in order to have an adult conversation.
Certainly.
You have to take the chance. And if you get offended, that is your problem because being offended is a feeling. It's not a threat.
But are there currently people being sued because they, when you get right down to brass tacks, hurt somebody's feelings? Yeah, there are,
Oh, there
buddy.
definitely are.
Sure, there are, right?
Now, if they stick or not, that's a whole different deal, right?
How how awful some of the frivolous court cases are these last 40 years is a whole other subject.
But
You got to get the right judge on the right day with the right jury if
yeah,
it's a jury of your
hopefully,
peers, right?
hopefully the judge got laid the night before and he's in good mood, I suppose.
Or just has common sense.
Wish
Uh,
common sense was common.
yes, I would like to have someone who's not, well, an experienced like lawyer would be fun to have on to bat some questions around with them about some things and hear about some of their stories. But a student would be interesting who's in the process of learning about the law. If you're out there and you're an interesting, well-spoken person, not like a like boring gray square, let us know because I would love to talk to like a new lawyer or a student who's ready to, like to take the bar to run by them. Like, aren't you worried about how precedent law can make things really messed up? Like this could be a totally obvious situation where you're like, yes, that's not that person's problem, but case of Smith versus McKinnon from 1921 says that it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't want to go down the road of law. But law is basically what we're talking about now, where the law is what matters because that's where the criminal things can happen to you for fucking up, the
Hmm.
legal, job related, citizenship, whatever. Like, look at me, man.
Right.
I am eight 8% concerned that the podcast might come up during my immigration interview.
And it
It's
might,
on
but
my mind.
yeah, it might, but there's nothing on here that we've talked about that they could look at you honestly and be like, oh, you're citing violence and against the United States government. Not at all,
Right,
people.
right, right.
Get fucked.
Absolutely not. Right, absolutely not. But think about it this way, okay? I could get. So let's take the Second Amendment one we did the other week, right? I
Right.
assume these are going to be back to back, but they might not be, folks. It happens sometimes. Uh, I could get someone who is my interviewer, who is my case agent. I don't know what they call it, who is real anti-gun and now just has a negative thought about me. And no, you know what? I don't believe you, Mr. McKinnon, and I don't like your answers. And no, it's a real possibility.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, that would be, I hate to say it,
Yeah.
would that actually be unconstitutional for them to do that? I think so.
Do unconstitutional things happen all the time?
Yeah. But that's where the separation is, right? Because you have to, in order to get your citizenship, you have to work with the government, right? They can't infringe on those. They are bound by that constitution. They can't overstep that at all.
But there can be opinion based
It could create
answer
bias.
and by there. Thank you. I was struggling for the word. It could make the person biased. And if
Could.
that person's opinion is the decision, fucked. When
I see where you come from. Yeah.
with the
Possibly.
podcast, I am well within the freedom of speech laws, even
Absolutely.
if I were a citizen. But the fact that I'm not yet, again, it's full of gray areas, right?
Right. Right. So when it comes to the First Amendment, is there any part of those that you're just like when you read it yourself, right? And there because there's 5 key points there. Is there any of those that just don't make sense to you?
The no law respecting an establishment of religion is crazy vague.
Okay, so I did some research. I'm happy you picked that one because that one got me too. And so I dug a little bit, right? So basically, what that actually says is that the government cannot tell you that you cannot practice your religion, and they can't push one religion prioritized over another. That's where it stops, right? The government basically can't have a religion, right? Which is funny because when this was built, they were all either Christians or Catholics. Pretty much everyone.
Protestant, Lutheran, Mormon, but sure, yeah.
Which I think
You and I'll have a history episode one of these days. As a Canadian, somehow I'll catch you up on yours. Now, again,
But
it's not your fault, right?
but they came from Catholic Europe, right?
I
Primarily
forget who I
Catholic.
heard. Yeah, I forget who I heard talking about it recently. But anyway, said somebody speaking about this exact thing that even though you may have been raised in any number of religions, it's amazing how many Christian values are just
Spread
sort of
across everything.
spread across just daily life. Like,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and again, a lot of these things are probably other stuff like, thou shalt not kill. Makes sense.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
don't cover your like neighbor's wife. Sure. What if
Right.
she's a hottie? Like, freedom of speech, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
you were saying,
But
you want to say something slick to my lady, there'll be consequences. But yeah.
there'll be consequences. But yeah, so that was the big deal is that they couldn't tell you that you can't practice your religion, and what I found is funny is, so I don't know, when you were growing up in school in Canada, uh did you guys do the Canadian version of the Pledge of Allegiance in school,
I honestly
or a morning
don't
prayer or anything?
I don't remember. I remember when I was young, we would sing "O Canada," but I don't believe that we had anything similar to the Pledge of Allegiance.
So we did the Pledge of Allegiance until I was in seventh grade, I think.
So somewhere in the 70s, guy, go ahead.
No, I think once we moved into middle school, I think that's when it stopped. I think all the way through grade school, we actually did the Pledge of Allegiance every morning.
Okay.
What I think is funny is that in my research, I found out that a school cannot stop a child from saying a prayer in school. They cannot stop. But if it is a state or government funded school, the teachers and administrations can't join in. They're not allowed to.
Well, I don't know the exact wording, but a good example of that is now, I believe it's still going on in at least in most of Canada. There is and forgive me, Indigenous people, I don't know the exact term, but there is some sort of declaration or speech or something that is happening, I believe, regularly. If it's certainly at events, so like graduations, for example, if you're at a graduation ceremony,
Sure.
of your appreciation and respect and apologies to the Indigenous people of Canada for the land that you're on, in the intent that it was once always theirs. That's certainly happening right now, but that's not a declaration in the way you're saying, like the not the declaration
So it's a
but yeah,
constant apology. Is that what I'm hearing?
basically.
Okay.
And
I
I'm
just
not
want to make sure.
quoting, yeah, I'm not quoting right or wrong because I have to admit I'm a little embarrassed. I'll be the first to admit it. So, number of years back, I'm home around Christmas time. My brother takes me out to see a few of his friends and people that used to be my customers at the bank and clients and things. We're having a good time. We're playing a game. And as we're just having a great time, somebody mentioned about this happening now in the schools, and I laughed because the way they said it was kind of matter of fact. And the fact that it was now happening every day, I'm like, that's great. Like, nope. They all looked at me at the table and went, no, no, that's every day now.
It's crazy. But
So
I guess
I
to
know
each
it's a
their
little
own.
off topic of what you asked, right?
Right.
But yes, I definitely saw that at a few of the events, graduations and things. And again, if that's what you want to do, I personally, I would think that if I was an Indigenous person, and I could be wrong because I'm not, so I'm not going to speak for anybody that's not my culture. It seems pandering. I would think I would almost be insulted if they were apologizing for something like, hey, sorry that we did this to you, even though we're not changing anything, but it happened, so we're going to acknowledge it. My thought comparison would be if in schools here now they started having again, I'm sorry to use the word speech. It sounds not enough, but like declaration, whatever they want to call it, to people who had been slaves. We're not going to do anything to change it, but we'll make all the kids in the school and before events kind of say sorry for it for a little. Like, it seems pandering, right?
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, side
That
topic,
strikes the
folks.
same nerve when I heard somebody online say that every white person needs to apologize for all all the slaves. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
A comedian that I like quite a bit made a joke recently comparing the amount of uh, black people in the States to the citizenry of Canada and said his idea was let's just take over Canada and make all of their citizens indentured slave to the people in the States as retribution. I don't get heated about
Jeez.
too much, man, but I got to tell you, I was pretty charged up for about 15 minutes about that. Like, I really like
Wow.
this guy. I'm never listening to you again. Nah, you're just saying to be funny. You don't really mean it. Ah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, but this
Oh,
is the freedom of speech thing
so
where
you
you
mean
can,
that we can say things that we don't mean? Oh, really? Because that's comedy.
and that's where I wanted to get us with the freedom of speech thing. I know we kind of went off on a little meander there, folks. It happens a little bit,
Right.
right? Uh, what we're doing is within the rights of freedom of speech for citizens of the United States. I realize I'm a gray area because I'm not a citizen, right? But
Close enough.
but
Actually, even if so in my research, even if you are not a citizen of this country and you are on US soil, you have the freedom of speech given to you.
I looked it up too. Legally on the soil. So as a legal permanent resident,
Yes.
I think not every, but I think most rights and constitutional information also I get the benefit, the gain of that
You absolutely do.
if I'm here
Right.
legally. Not everything.
Not
They
everything.
can, right. And they could change it tomorrow, right?
Right.
Like,
I mean, they really could. Right.
yeah, like there's a real possibility, and not possibility, but they could certainly turn around tomorrow as the government and go, you know what? We think that people who aren't citizens are the problem, and if you're not a citizen, get on the first thing smoking PFO down the road.
Right.
Nothing to stop them.
Absolutely
They've
not.
made mass declarations of things before, right? Like,
Yep. Absolutely.
which I think is what kind of keeps my wife up a little time, like once in a while at nights. Again, folks, I've been
Yeah. I
a
mean,
happy resident of the United States for getting real close to 20 years,
yeah.
and through just procrastination had never become a citizen. And I'm starting to realize my poor wife has probably been real stressed about this for the
Poor
last
woman.
17 years.
Man, why you gotta do that to her?
I realize.
But at the same time, like, I think that's where a lot of people get confused with a bunch of the freedoms and the rights and stuff like that, is because when they read them, they're written in legal language. They're not written for the normal everyday person. I went down a rabbit hole today and read all of them, all of the amendments. I sat in my computer for like an hour and a half and read all, and a lot of them I had to read twice, three times. Like, wait, that doesn't, goddamn lawyers. God
Right.
damn you.
So how do you feel about the fact that this was, I believe you brought it up briefly earlier and we sort of skipped by it for some reason. I mean, this right got infringed during COVID
Right.
and continues for other reasons since then. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? People certainly were blacklisted and what did they call it when they shadow banned? There's people who were shadow banned
Yep.
who all of a sudden
Oh,
the
yeah.
algorithm just didn't let their information go out and this, that, and that.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's a perfect example of where First Amendment comes in and where it gets shut down really, really easy, right? Where it doesn't apply. Okay. So here are my thoughts. So yes, shadow banning, accounts being shut off for saying certain things that, certain people didn't want to hear. Yes, it has come out that, these social media outfits were actually getting pressured by the US government to not allow certain things to be said on their platforms, right?
Oh, well, let's be clear, not just the US government, businesses, political
Right,
organizations, like, yeah, for sure. Right.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yes, thank you for clarifying that. That is important. I think what people got so irate about and they didn't understand is that the social media platforms are private entities. They can make the rules and regulations how they see fit. You don't get First Amendment rights on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat. Doesn't apply. They're private companies. The freedom
I
of
brought it up
press.
specifically because of that.
Yep. The freedom
You
of
don't get to
press, the
say
freedom
whatever
of
you
speech.
want. They can create an
Shut your shit
algorithm or
off.
block you or just shut you off. Like, sure they
Cancel
can.
your account.
Yeah.
Ding. Which we have to be careful of on our social medias. Our social media manager is all over that shit. She is constantly scanning and making sure that we're not violating any deals on any of our platforms, especially talking these last two episodes.
Yeah. Yes, and social media manager, thank you. We appreciate your effort. We
She
definitely
is
don't want
working.
to. We don't want to go to court. We don't want to go to court.
Well,
I'm sorry.
and it'll, I don't think it ever go to court, but what it'll do is just our shit will get shut off. Right. And they are private companies. People have got to remember that. They're in the private sector. The rules don't apply.
That's it. That's what it comes down to, right? And even if, not to be negative, but even if they do apply, well, those big businesses and private sectors have money and contacts and senators that they contributed to, and they can change the rules mid-game sometimes, which is basically what we're looking at right now.
Well, and then government can't infringe on those private companies and tell them what they can and cannot do. Right.
They're not supposed to, but can they?
They're not supposed to.
But can they?
I mean,
How many times have you seen, let's take Mark Zuckerberg as an example, in front of Congress or some sort of questioning tribunal, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
defending the position of what they can make your life difficult.
Oh, they
And
absolutely can.
in the same way, a business could make someone's life difficult. I'm not
Mhm.
bagging on the government. Any organized group or business can certainly do this. They've got the money, they got the time, they got the lawyers, they got nothing better to do.
Yep. They will make your life miserable.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, you can come after me. I promise. Fucking, you can take 75% of everything I got, but 75% of zero is still fucking zero, guys. Just
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna make sure you take 75% of the debt too.
right.
Yeah, you want what I own? I own the debt too, but by the legal definition, I'll hold you over the fire. For sure.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, the way we're talking about it, if things did change, let's say back to my original kind of half joke of amending the amendment, I mean, it's a slippery slope. You can't just leave out something like social media. You can't leave out something like mainstream media.
Right.
You can't leave out judges' social media, government social media, other countries.
Right.
You can't leave any of it out. I worry that the, and you mentioned earlier, the technology, the internet, just how fast it progressed, that they just never perceived it. You can't keep up. I don't know that reading the words that we said, the actual wording of the First Amendment, I don't know that it's applicable now.
I think it could use to be expanded quite a bit, or at least detailed out a little bit further.
Right.
Right. But the problem is on that notion of technology outpacing laws, rules, and regulations is the people that we have in place to make the laws and regulations for this stuff don't even know how to use the fucking platforms. They're freaking 70-year-old fucking people that have been in Congress their entire lives and they don't know their ass from the hole in the ground. That's what I'll say smack about our government. Sorry.
Career politicians who I I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's at least a few who remember the first television in their neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's quite a few that remember the, several wars that we've had and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah. Evening entertainment used to be the radio.
Yeah,
There's definitely some people old enough. How could they
absolutely.
possibly have an understanding or a comprehension or an opinion on a world that, yes, they grew up and aged and evolved in it? But we know at some point you hit a point where this is your opinion now, unless you're
Right.
really open-minded.
Well, and not only that, Jason, you and I are part of the generation and part of the age that ushered in all of this technology. We we learned it. We knew what it was before it. We learned it and we see what's coming up behind it. And we kind of understand the majority of it all, right? People above us, even a lot of our friends, right? God bless you, but they don't understand how these platforms work,
No.
right? They're not using them. And so how can we expect that the people that we have in places to put in rules and regulations that they don't know how anything works on them, how can they make those regulations? You can't. You have to understand the problem in order to fix it. And they don't. And I find it so funny every time I see something about Zuckerberg sitting in front of a congressional committee getting questioned, and they're asking him retarded questions.
They
And I sit
really
there
do.
and I laugh because you just see Zuckerberg's face. It's just, there's no emotion. He's just like, that's not how it works, guys.
And then you get
That's not how it
so many
works.
online comments, again, through the freedom of speech, through access to social media platforms, where you've got the people you're talking about who don't even know to ask the proper questions. And the age group of people who do and have grown up and understand this technology are all commenting, why does Zuckerberg drink water so weird?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you don't have
Right.
any better questions than that. Like, these people don't. At least you could jump in with something and maybe one of their aides would read it and go, hey, ask this question next time.
Right.
Nope. They're too busy going, why does he drink water weird? He looks like a robot. Why is his face that weird, like color?
Right.
You've got access to all the information of the world. And what do? Talk shit.
Yep. Yep.
Don't get me wrong. Our whole podcast is built on talking shit. I'm not hating on you for it, but
Right. Right.
uh just like the Second Amendment one, man, I'm gonna let you finish up as the born and raised citizen here. But I just want to say, like, I want to talk about this because we talked about the Second Amendment and we should jump back and like at least do a few of them. I also want to look at, 3 through 7 and see if there's anything else interesting there that might be kind of fun.
Absolutely.
Uh, I believe there needs to be an amendment of the amendment. I don't think that the wording of this is, I don't think it's remotely accurate anymore, other than the base version of what you're allowed to say and get away with and still right to peaceful assembly and things like that. To go to your government and say, hey, I disagree with this. This is how I feel. This is what we think should change. Like, I understand the intent, but now, this day and age, with every voice, you don't have to write an op-ed for a newspaper, which is dead. You don't have to go and show up at the protest in -30 in Minneapolis when you're unhappy with what's going on. You open up your phone or your laptop and you get online and you just say what you want to think.
Hmm.
The intent when this was written was actual religion, actual press, actual people who are looking to assemble and make a change for something that they thought was wrong with a business or the treatment or a government. And now it's it's not the same anymore.
Right.
I think
Right.
I think this should be, well, I don't know if any amendments have ever been amended before. I should look that up. But if they haven't, I think they should really consider amending the First Amendment again to just to make it more accurate this day and age so people didn't just spout 3 words out of that whole thing that I said at the beginning of freedom of speech. There are so many more terms in there that you just got to focus on a little bit. John typing frantically to see if an amendment has ever been amended.
Yep.
Uh, but again, that's my whole position on the thing because some of the things that are air quotes protected by free speech now just simply weren't a prevalent problem back then. You mentioned talking or disseminating information about terrible crimes against children. I'm not going to use the word you used. Cyberbullying didn't exist. Bullying didn't exist. Harassment, stalking, like
But
not to the point they are now, right?
yeah, but devil's advocate to all of that is we can safely and cleanly put a lot of that stuff under certain things, right? We can, if freedom of speech to cover, peaceful protesting and stuff like that. We can easily define that. There's a lot of acts, and the one with the horrible and shitty acts against children of any kind, we know that doesn't apply anywhere. It's not covered. You can't, that's not protected. Go fuck yourself. You deserve capital punishment. That's what you get. Right.
Yeah,
Like,
no doubt.
right. And to answer your question, yes, amendments have been amended, repealed, or superseded.
Okay.
Since they've been created. It is possible. Everything, and I think that's the great part about it, is that when all the men, and I can say men because there was no women in Congress at the time, when they created the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all the amendments and all the changes, they knew it was going to need changed. They put things in place in order to change it. They knew they weren't going to hit the nail on the head every single time. Right?
Well, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but that's why there's amendments.
Right.
They
Right.
did
And
their best with the original draft of the Constitution, sure.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely. But things change. Like the 18th Amendment regarding prohibition.
yeah,
That wasn't there during the creation,
that's
right?
true. Yeah.
It didn't exist during, but it's stuff like that. And I think that's what's so important to remember is that if you petition the government correctly and you do it smartly and you do it with intent and detailed and planned and structured, you can get things changed. I think the problem is a lot of people, and I can honestly say it for me, I ain't got time to spend on it. There's a lot of things I don't like. I don't have time to go around and petition people and get a petition list put together and go to the Congress and go to the Senate and sit there and talk to people. I don't have time. Nor do I have the money to put in somebody's pocket to go take that time to do it. Right.
True. Very, very true, buddy.
I just don't. And I'm sorry for that, but that's where things are. Um, before we close, I know we want to wrap up here. We don't want to make this stupid long. I'm sure it's already been an hour or so. I
I
don't
have
even
no
have a
idea,
timer
but
up.
keep going.
I think we should actually tell people about the freedom of speech that others have utilized on our comments. I think
Yes, so in the
I think
spirit of that, I like that. Yeah, we have had some comments. I mean, the most recent episode, we'll just kind of stick to that a little bit. We were talking about the Second Amendment.
right.
Uh, we've had we've had some feedback.
Yep. What platform do you want to take?
No, no, go ahead because you digging into this is much more than me. I'll just have my I'll give my opinion on the comments semi-blind as you give them up. We
Okay.
certainly will interact back with you if you put comments on any of the social media platforms, folks. But John is going to give me a few that I haven't heard, maybe one or two that I did. I'm going to give you my blind reaction of what my post back would have been.
Okay. So these are great. And Jason says that very nicely because he knows I'm always looking at it. I'm always in it. I will say this, in addition to what you said there, Jason, there are comments that I won't comment to. I'm not going to drag some shit out.
Yep, definitely.
I have no reason to engage in a lot of things, right? I ain't got time. Piss off, right?
Yeah, some people are on the real fringes, folks, and you can tell when you're dealing with somebody on the fringe. We'll
Yeah.
avoid some of that. I don't want nobody showing up in my house.
If you want to engage with us and actually have a response from us, here's a really easy tip. Don't start with all caps. Just don't. You're
Or
yelling at a bare wall. I'm
right,
happy you
or
can
not even
yell.
start with. If your whole post is all caps, you better be funny.
Yeah, and they're
You
not.
better make me laugh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. All right. So the first one we're gonna look at a YouTube comment on one of our shorts from Cora 7511 says shall not be infringed. This we were talking about the Second Amendment.
mhm.
Then proceed to tell us the right is limited. Yeah, it is. Duh.
It is limited though. Shall not be infringed is not a binding forever concrete answer. It should have said shouldn't be and probably won't likely be infringed most of the time, but it definitely will sometimes. Like,
Well, and it's infringed because it stops with the government. You're right. Stop. It does not apply to private sector.
right.
There's the infringement.
Yeah,
Duh.
that one
Jesus.
that one makes me laugh. Of
Right.
course it's going to be infringed sometimes. You're taking the words
Way
and
too
using them
literally.
too literally, like the people as we talked about in the episode who only said right to bear arms.
Right.
There is a lot more to it than that. And if you're just using the shall not be infringed, not giving the information before that, come on now, you know what you're doing.
Right.
So
All right.
shout out
So
to that person. Like, come on.
right back to that one. Daniel Jackson 7971. All caps. And Jason, I want to know your opinion on this one because this one's funny.
I love that
All
it's all
caps.
caps.
So he's fucking pissed or yelling or pissed or something.
Shout out. I hope it's a reference to Stargate. Go ahead.
Right. What's your gun gonna do against a missile fired from 10 miles away?
We brought it up when we were recording that yes, you're talking about a law and an amendment, not a law, an amendment written when the government had muskets and cannons and you had muskets and cannons. Sure. But also missiles, you're going to compare a homeowner's air quotes right to bear arms under the Constitution to missiles. Like,
Right.
yes, can a private citizen in certain states, Texas probably, get their hands on a missile to fire or a rocket? Sure, they can. Apples to oranges comparison, Daniel. Come on now, that's not fair.
Right.
Like, great, the gun isn't going to do anything against that. You're right. That's absolutely true. But you have to understand, man, if your comparison is the government that's not going to be allowed to infringe upon you is now firing missiles at you, you got a way bigger problem than the Constitution. You can't go up to Capitol Hill and go, my constitutional rights are being infringed upon if they're shooting missiles at you. It's an
Oh,
apples and
absolutely.
oranges comparison. Like, that's not fair.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. And then we're gonna switch over to Instagram here. just because I found this one funny, and I think we got to give the guy some credit here. So this was going back to when I made the comment on one of our videos about the if I hit you with a spoon, be considered an assault spoon. Stop calling ARs assault rifles, right?
I loved this comment. Keep going.
Right. So the one gentleman, I'm going to get to you here real quick, Ethan. You were really educative, and I actually looked up some of this, and it's pretty cool. The other one that I found really funny, and both Jason and I found funny, was from Bad Moonables, whatever that is. Technically, it would be a battery spoon. Assault is a threat. Battery is an action. I'm going to correct you because I looked it up, and assault is causing physical harm. Just saying. So I'm technically right, but I see your point. Love you for it. What's your thoughts?
Assault doesn't necessarily have to be battery, but battery's always assault, kid.
Right.
We love you commenting and getting back to us, but use facts, because something simple like that, John and I are going to be able to pull that apart pretty quick, kid. Yeah. Assault might be battery, but battery's always assault. So,
right.
I like that one, though. That was good.
So now we're going to get to Ethan, right? Ethan came in and said the AR and AR-15 does not stand for Armalite rifle. It just stands for Armalite. He is exactly right. 100%. And the argument about the spoon is a little ridiculous. The term assault rifle is really terminology used by militaries around the world and weapons manufacturers. Still, the AR-15 does not meet the definition of an actual assault rifle. So the liberal who says that are still stupid. You're on the right track, but your facts are a little bit out of line.
But made the point of saying liberal.
Yeah, sorry.
Shout out, that was showing where you're at, right?
That was his exact. And so he's not exactly wrong. The AR. So I did some digging, because I will admit I'm going to retract a little bit. Absolutely right. It just is the Armalite. The Armalite company. The AR-15 was their 15th model that they built. Right, 15th, the actual gun. Armalite is the manufacturer. They sold to Colt. Right, and 59 or 69, something like that. They sold off to Colt. Colt kept the AR platform when they started creating military grade weapons, or to replace the 7.62s. They replaced them with what is their M16, right? So, yeah, super cool. They are Armalites. That is the AR. Solid. I appreciate it.
We love the feedback, everybody. Like I said, when you send something that we find interesting, we are definitely going to bring it up.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You'll be catching that at the end of a lot of episodes going forward now. So for those of you who didn't notice, I know we were joking about it earlier, but we're on video now.
Yep.
So if you do want to watch and you're not on the job site, or you just check it out, I don't know how I feel about it yet, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it.
Now, we are taking it a little slow, people. I want you to understand that when it comes to the video stuff, it is only video on Spotify. Okay. That's the only place, because Spotify is our hosting platform. That's the only place you're going to find the video. When it ships it out to everybody else, it's just the RSS feed. It's just the audio. I'm the tech ed behind it. I'm trying to figure out how to get that cleanly over on YouTube, to have the YouTube video plays. I think they'll do really well over there. We're two strikingly gorgeous individuals, just saying. So, but yeah, we're getting there.
Do me a favor, man. Going forward, don't refer to me as strikingly gorgeous.
Oh, you are, you sexy forward. Bastard.
That's better somehow. I'm still a little uncomfortable. And Aaron Peters sent me a comment looking at the videos now that we have them, saying, great to see video now. Why is there nothing on your wall, Canada? I'm going to solve that over the next little bit here. John has what looks like a construction site in the background because he refuses to do any more work on his downstairs. It seems really appropriate. I know it looks like AI, folks, but that's actually John's basement.
That's actually the basement. Yeah.
I have a wood panel wall behind me with nothing on it at all. I'll put something on there. I might even put a little, like, I don't know, dry erase board or something up and put fun comments in every week. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But I heard you. I know it's a boring background. But to the original point of our podcast, this is a couple of the walls in almost every job trailer on the
Almost
field, so
identical.
it's almost identical, right?
Yeah.
So that is why we had it there. What do you think, man? We beat it to death?
Yeah, I think we beat this dead horse good.
All right. If you got any opinions about the First Amendment, freedom of speech, folks, please reach out. Let us know. Obviously, we'll mention your comments. We find them funny. And just to back up on John's point real quick, if the start of your comment is all caps, you better make it funny, because it's real hard not to go, well, this person's just yelling for nothing.
Right.
So
We do appreciate it, and everybody just remember, stay safe out there. It is a crazy time in the world, and know where you stand on things. Be okay with standing your ground, and other than that, remember your work keeps the world working.
cheers, buddy.
Just launch it.